The president invited his son Hunter to the state dinner last night. I'm wondering if you could take us into the thinking and the decision-making of why the president decided to invite his son.
I'm just not going to get into family discussion, personal family discussion. As you know, Hunter is his son. I'm just not going to get into
Let me
it.
ask you this. If Hunter Biden wasn't the president's son, would he have invited someone who had just reached a plea agreement with federal prosecutors
Well,
2 days earlier?
a couple of things. Again, that's his son. He's a family member. It is not uncommon for family members to attend events at the White House. You could look at past presidents. I'm sure you have. So that is not uncommon. As it relates to anything related to Hunter, I'm just not going to respond to it from here.
Can I follow up on that?
Okay.
Kirby?
No, I just called in somebody. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Kirby wouldn't answer James's question, though. Are you going to answer the question? I mean, not a reasonable question to ask whether the President of the United States was involved, as this message seems to suggest, in some sort of coercive conversation for business dealings by his son. Is that something, if he wasn't, then maybe you should tell us.
So here's the thing, and I appreciate the question. I believe my colleague at the White House Counsel has answered this question already, has dealt with this, has made it very clear. I just don't have anything to share outside of what my colleagues have shared, and so I would refer you to him and the DOJ. Just not going to comment from here.
Text message
I will. What I can tell you is I know that my colleague has dealt with this. He addressed this at the White House Counsel. I just don't have anything else to share.
In the shakedown attempt?
I just answered the question.
Kareem,
I just
can I just
answered the
ask about
question.
one
Go
No,
ahead.
you didn't.
statement
Yes
you
or
made?
no, was the president involved in the
I just
shakedown
an-
attempt?
Stephen,
Yes or no to that?
Stephen, I just answered the question. It's not up to you how I answer the question. I just answered the question by telling you my colleagues at the White House Counsel has dealt with this, and I would refer you to them. Go ahead.
Can you just remind us what your colleague said from the White House Counsel so we have it from you at the podium?
I would refer you to them, and they will share their statement with all of
My
you.
question is about
Is there
your
anything-
statements from that podium. You've stated that the president stands by his comment from the 2020 campaign that he never once discussed his son's overseas business dealings with his son. And you stood at that podium and you reaffirmed that. Do you stand by your reaffirmation?
What I
of it?
will say is nothing has changed. Nothing has changed, and I will leave it there. Anything else, I will refer you to the White House Counsel.
This is not a change.
I just answered the question. You just asked me, does my statement change? I just told you nothing has changed. That's answering the question.
At
Go
the
ahead.
president's home.
Go ahead.
The
Go
president
ahead.
was there 2 days
Go ahead,
prior.
Stephen. I'm calling on your colleague right now. Go ahead.
Thank you. To follow up on my colleague, is there anything that you can say with regard to this text message and what the president's son was alleging? Was the president there or not?
I would refer you to my colleagues at the White House Counsel. They have addressed this, and I refer you to them. Go ahead.
Karine, have you spoken to the president about this? Have you asked him whether he was there with his son on July 30th?
This is not a conversation that I've had with the president. Again, I would refer you to the White House
Do
Counsel.
you plan to have that conversation with the president?
No.
Did the president speak with the attorney general at all
I
last
can't.
night at the state dinner?
I cannot say if the president had had a conversation with the attorney general last night. What I can refer you to is the White House counsel's office as it relates to the allegations. They've already addressed this. This is something for them to deal with. I refer you to the Department of Justice on anything else if you don't want to speak to the White House counsel's office.
And there was reporting earlier in the week that after the plea agreement was reached by Hunter Biden, that the president felt relieved that that part of it was behind him. Is that true? Can you
I
speak
can't
to his
speak to that.
mindset?
I cannot speak to the president's mindset. Again, I would refer you to the White House counsel's office. Get it.